Yeah, while we wait for people to flood to come in. Yeah, like literally you can like that photo.
Yeah,
Yeah, that photo was like sitting right next to the dude in front of Ray Allen. So
that's so sick.
it was sick. It was sick. Good. I mean, it's the first game of the season, so like you kind of expect them to win those first few, but like they look good. They look good.
How was the crowd?
Crowd wasn't great, but like for
Yeah,
kind of it's
5 p.m.
growing
was
still.
amazing.
And so I think that once this team gets rolling, I think you'll get more people at these games.
Yeah,
Both men's and women's just showing what these teams are. But yeah, they look good in their first game. For those, penalties aside, okay, well let's just shout out Falcon already. I mean, let's just get it started
yes.
right here.
Thank you, Falconer, for
Super sticker.
that super sticker, the 305.
Yeah, you got a point. The helicopter talk was making
Was
some
on.
traction when things were going on a roll, and we could be
Yeah,
like, this team's that good. This team's that good. We need to get people to these games and consistently. And
well,
then you lose the SMU. We'll get all into it, and
let's
then the
get it.
helicopter talk has to dial
Yeah,
itself back a little bit. But as always, welcome back to Primetime Live. Shay here, joined by Jaden. Jaden, how are you doing today?
I wish I could be better, Shay.
Mhm.
I just wish I could be better. Unfortunate things happened on Saturday that I unfortunately can't say I was surprised. I was not surprised by the way they lost that game and the way that everything happened. Questions have to be raised, concerns have to be there. There's a lot of concerns. I have a lot of concerns on all fronts of this team in all facets, and we'll dive right into it. I do want to pull up this thing about Brockermeyer. I was asked about this a couple weeks ago about how about Brockermeyer. I did not think he was that bad. I was watching a lot more of Brockermeyer. He keeps getting these. First of all, these snap infraction penalties. They
Mhm.
always on him. He's gotten like one every game. And then it seems like Shannon Dawson loves running up the A gap, but we suck at running up the A gap. And he's the guy that is kind of the head of it. Has not been great. Although the offensive line in general has been the best in the nation, at least in passing O line. But we'll dive right into. I mean, like the first thing I can say, I think the season's over. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it really does feel like it right now because your best, like, okay, is it literally over? No, it's not. There is a path, but that path requires us. Yeah, I know, Chris. We're gonna get into all that today,
Yeah.
but just to stick on the point right now of is the season over? That path currently requires us to win out, which look at what
Already
NC
doesn't look
State did
possible.
against Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a fight. Look at what CJ Bailey's doing over there, and this Pitt team. You look up and they're 7-2. I think 6-1 in the conference,
Yeah. And
and
for the
they're
people
not a
game, they're legit.
they're not a team. They're not a team you could sleep on. Like
Yeah.
you are going to play two tough teams. And guess what? You thought you were a lot better than the last two teams you lost to. You can't really play the talent card and say, well, we have just a better roster on paper, and so we're going to play better than these teams in the actual games when it just hasn't felt like that. Plus, it's just being realistic. You need SMU to lose 2 games, Louisville to lose 2 games, Duke. You need to lose at least one more game.
Mm-hmm.
I forget how the whole tiebreaker system goes out, but I believe if we win out, if we win out, and if we win out, miss the ACC championship, and don't play in it at all. I believe I had somebody was doing one of the ESPN playoff predictors earlier, and it had us about 40 something percent, 40 something, 30 something percent. Not great, not on the higher odds of things. And then especially if you make that ACC championship somehow make that ACC championship, because all these teams fall apart. You still have to go and win that thing. Because if we lose that game, you're not making it. You're not making this team is not making it as a 3-loss team, regardless of what the talent on the roster. So
Yeah, I think the
it
ACC
feels over.
chances are gone. I'm
Yeah.
pretty confident on that aspect, but the at large is technically still in play. Falconer mentions it. We were as well the part of the people that said we can go 10-2, and could possibly be contending for an at large spot. Did not think it was going to happen in this way where you're going to lose these 2 games on November 1st, and
Yeah.
now for the next 4 games, for the next 4 straight weeks with injuries, with everything going on, with 2 more road games that you now have to win out and play exquisite football, which they've shown none of that.
Nope.
They are the biggest enemy for the Miami Hurricanes is once again themselves. They continue to shoot themselves in the foot. They continue to mess up their own path to a victory. They do it every single time. We said this when they were undefeated, number 2 team in the country, and we said, we're gonna see if this is the same old Canes, and it's the same old Canes. It's our crystal ball in November and December, being 4-11 now in the months of November and December. That's a problem. That's a legitimate issue. I don't understand why he is so good in the months of August through October, and then once we hit November, there is an issue with this team. It makes no sense. It is a Mario Cristobal problem, and I don't understand how we can get off of this, in the future. I'm sorry, like looking at it right now, of course, there's a chance. You're going to need some teams to lose. You're going to need, I think I have a lot of the teams that I mentioned between.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to look at the AP poll for that at-large bid,
Yeah.
I kind of have it.
Pull it up.
Can you click on it?
Yep. Here we go.
Yeah, you take a look at that, and this is, Miami is all the way. Let me just zoom in a little bit.
There we go. Yeah.
Miami is currently sitting at 18 right now. So Utah's
right now,
at 2 losses, Vandy's at 2 losses, Texas is at 2 losses. Virginia only 1. And you look at some of those 2-loss teams. Who have their losses been to? They've been to ranked teams. Notre Dame, they lost to us at the first game of the season, and A&M, who is all
number
the way
3.
at 3. So they're going to probably get the nod, which we can have a debate of whether that's right or wrong, but I don't know. What's your take on that whole Notre Dame? If Notre Dame, Miami are 10-2, who are you giving that a large bid?
They were talking about this a lot, and because I don't necessarily disagree that Notre Dame has been the better team. Post week 3, Notre Dame has been the better team since over Miami. But the games on the field have to matter. We beat them on the field. We played them. We beat them. That, in theory, should then require Miami to be ahead of them. But I understand if the committee were to say, oh, Miami's trending downwards, Notre Dame's trending upwards, they look a whole lot different. Like, I can see that. I can understand it. I disagree with it personally because we're biased as Hurricane fans, but I could see it. Yeah. Obviously, for Notre Dame, they need to go undefeated still, and they got Pitt left. That's probably their only tough-ish game next week against Pitt. Other than that, I'm not really looking at anything else. But like for Miami, I'm looking at all these teams that could lose potentially. Notre Dame's the only one. Like Notre Dame, they wouldn't make the playoffs if they lost again. Oklahoma's got a pretty tough schedule. I think they got Bama next week. UVA is bound to lose a game. I'm going to continue to say that. UVA is bound to lose games.
I'm no offensive to Virginia, but they feel so fake.
It does. It feels. But look. We can't really say much. We can't say.
You can't really say much because they're winning the games.
Yeah, they like the way that they play all these games extremely tough. It makes no sense. Texas, it has Georgia and A&M. They're going to lose. Louisville, I don't know. I think Louisville is probably the team to beat other than Georgia Tech in the ACC. Vandy might lose another game because they got Tennessee, Utah. I don't know. There's a chance. Obviously, there's a world for Miami. There's a lot. It's a big world. We're going to see what tomorrow looks like with the committee. If they move up, maybe we're like 16 or 15, there's a legitimate shot. That's like a legitimate. If you win out, you might get the 11 or the 10 spot. And you can be like, okay, there's, we have a legitimate shot to do this. The problem is, can you now win out? And I feel like that's the issue that we keep having with ourselves. Can you win out? And I don't think they can with the way that they played on the field against SMU, which is kind of the main thing. The first thing I look at when I think of this game that I watched on Saturday, these penalties are absurd. They gotta stop with these penalties. They shoot themselves in the foot every single week. And this week, when you have 8 first half penalties for 60 yards and a total of 12 for 96, it's going to cost you. I understand the stuff with the refs. I understand the stuff with everything that went on in that game, but you cannot say that the refs won SMU that game. You lost that game. No way to put it. Falconer with the 305, thank you. Might beat all their rivals, lost to Met. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. It's the thing with Mario. It's like he's like a reverse James Franklin, where his ceiling's 10 wins and he's gonna win you big games, but he's also gonna lose the boneheaded games in November and December that you're scratching your head and you're saying, how are you losing this game? So it's like, I don't get it. But the penalties to me were the biggest thing from this game, and it's a problem. And I'm continuing looking at it every single week. Why are these penalties becoming this much of a problem? They're third in the nation now in penalties per game. It's a problem. It's a legitimate problem.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, and you hear it every single week in the press conferences. Yeah, Falcon. I mean,
Mhm.
Falcon.
It's
Like
absolutely
again,
it's
like I, I have questions, but yeah, I still support Mario in a lot of the sense. But you can't keep it out here with the same message every single week. That okay, well, we need to change it. It's gonna get fixed. It's a problem. Yada yada. Like it just when you keep echoing when the week happens to be the same message every single week,
yep.
it feels it's feels like it's not getting through. When you keep on saying it during the press conferences and it continues to be an issue, it feels like it's not getting through. And I know I saw the press conference today and he was talking about, well, discipline doesn't always mean yelling at guys, fighting guys, reprimanding guys like in a demeaning tone necessarily, which 100% I get that. You can guys are coached differently now. 100% on I get that part about it. But like there need to be some consequences, whether it's less playing time, switch ups on the offensive line, which where a lot of these penalties have come from. We talked about Brockermeyer with the snap infractions, hold a bunch of holdings. There was the one I think there was JoJo Trader offensive PI that
That
brought.
was Malachi Tony. It was a second
Oh,
and 8 on the SMU 23-yard line.
mm,
OPI on Tony. He blocks the receipt. He blocks super deep, basically in the end zone. It was a penalty. It definitely was. It gives it's a 15-yard penalty, turned into a 3rd and 33, and then a hold. No,
I was third and 23,
yes,
holding on the offense,
on
third and
Noah,
33, and
and then
what
a
goes
30.
from
Yep,
you're in
yep.
field goal position to one play later you're punting.
And they
So
didn't even. And that punt turned into a touchback. Huge
yeah.
issue. That's a
And
problem.
because that punt turns into a touchdown back, because another part about the discipline and sloppiness, you have Bryce Fitzgerald diving on the football when just let it bounce and stop it.
That was another one. That was a different drive, which is
Oh, that
even
was a
worse.
different one. Okay.
Yeah. So Inez is called for a holding on 1st and 10 on the own 36. Then it was a false start / delay of game because it was clock was running to 0. Inez moves, whatever. They then are forced to punt again because of that drive. And it was a 73-yard boot from Joyce that should have downed them inside the 5. And instead, Bryce Fitzgerald slips, falls, lets the ball roll into the end zone for another touchback. That was kind of this game. Everything about it was, just self-inflicted wounds, and they keep they're killing themselves.
Yes, 100%. Kill themselves consistently. 12 penalties for 96 yards. As you just said, got them into long downs, got them into
Yep.
tough spots that we just mentioned, a 3rd and 33 that put you all the way out of field goal range, just like that.
Yep.
Like consistently taking points off the board and halting good drives. Which is like you could say it every single week in the press conference, but we haven't seen it get fixed. And with that, like what's happening? Why haven't there necessarily been like I'm not saying like you bench guys for full games, but for quarters, drives as a result of that. Like show what's it called? Show that like this means something when you do something wrong. Like you know what I mean? Like there should be consequences.
Show some discipline. Yeah, I get it. Like I think I agree. It's bothering me that first of all, I'm pretty sure the entire offensive line got called for at least one penalty, which is that's a problem in itself. If I'm pretty sure of the 8 penalties in the first half, I think 7 were on the offense. Again, what are we doing? Just incredible self-inflicting wounds. In the second half, there's 2 that we can stand out. The 3rd and 5 with 3:43 left in the game. Beck is kind of keeping the play alive. We're making it work on a broken play. And then he gets a 30-yard throw to Keelan Marion. Nice play. Taken away by Matthew McCoy, an eligible player downfield. Eventually, they do get that first down, and the drive ends in a field goal. But that was kind of just backbreaking penalties that are costing the team the game, like on a consistent basis. And then the other one, which was the biggest play of the game, the Marquise Lightfoot play. I'm still kind of working on it of like, who do I blame in that kind of situation?
Mm-hmm.
My first instinct was to blame Mario because I wouldn't have called the timeout there. I thought it didn't make sense.
I agree. I know you want to just get the look, but either they line up, call it right there, and then once they have that look, or you just don't call it at all. Like
it looked like SMU was pressing a little bit too. They were kind of like they got sacked. The clock was running, and then they got
a little dump off to kind of get
and then it turned into that 4th and 9 play, and you're like, why not bet on your defense to just they are both gassed equally. Why not just go for it? If they convert, maybe you can use a timeout. They get a first down. All right, use a timeout. Is it necessary to use a timeout there? I didn't think so. And if you did, you should have used it a little bit earlier. He doesn't.
I forgot. Do they have 2 or just 1?
Miami had 2 timeouts.
Okay, so yeah, then that timeout factors into the even when they go and score, the decision not to try.
Which pissed me off beyond belief. 22 seconds left in
25.
college football rules. Yeah, in college football rules. 1 timeout. Should have been 2 if you kept that timeout. Yeah. And you do nothing. You take a knee. The conservative play calling in the second half was unbelievable. It was a disaster on all fronts between Dawson and Cristobal. It was, to me, it was just a malpractice of coaching during that game. And also, I mean, as a team, the execution was just not there. And the second in the first half, they had it. I felt like they were just waiting to break through. You have that Tony 42-yard punt return that got into the
and then Lawson doesn't settle in the zone, runs right into a defender, gets popped to lose the ball.
They kick a field goal. That should have been an easy touchdown drive. The defense on at least the rushing defense was impeccable. Yeah. Impeccable. They held them to -2 rushing yards in 4 quarters.
Yeah, even the pass, I get the pass defense, the numbers look bad because I think they had 365, but 3 of 13 on third downs. You held them into I know they only scored 20 points during regulation and 26 if you count overtime, when in all fairness, it felt over at that point.
Yeah, it did.
I don't really blame them, and they guys were punching the ball. And yeah, offensively, Charles has the point here.
It feels so vanilla, so plain.
It doesn't you don't see after the JoJo drop, it led to the pick. Didn't really see a lot of shots downfield as much anymore.
Yes.
You didn't see them because there were plenty of plays where they were daring them to throw. They were pressing up, cover 1, cover 0, sending blitzes, and you don't trust your guys to go and win the one-on-ones when they look at the receiving core. I know look at the receiving core's numbers. Keelan was killing them every single third down for key conversions. Malachi is Malachi, and then JoJo was in that first half was destroying them. And if that drop doesn't happen, he has probably 100 yards in about the first quarter.
Yeah, it was. You're looking at that performance, and also Beck had so much time in the pocket.
Yeah,
on every single snap. He didn't get sacked once. He has a clean pocket on 99% of his plays. Why not just throw the ball more? If the pocket is that clean, and SMU's defense is ranked, I think, 3rd worst in the country in passing defense, why not take a shot? Why not go for something? Why not do something different or go for a deep ball? After the JoJo Trader 35-yard touchdown pass from Beck, which was a great play, nothing else happened after that. And then you have another deep ball. You get the pick from SMU. SMU scores on the very next play. And Dawson was like, all right, we're not throwing deep anymore. That to me was a problem. And I'm look at this comment. And
I don't know yet if I'd get rid of Dawson after this year, but we're getting close to it just where the offense has kind of declined over the last few weeks, where it feels just so vanilla.
Yeah.
Mario, I agree with you. I'm still a believer in just how he's built this program up year by year. I 100% get it. The game day coaching. Oh yeah, no, exactly. Think about if Cam wasn't here.
Cam literally.
Yeah, I mean, 100% saved this job because look at what happened last year with TBD.
Yeah.
Downhill has a huge year with Cam, where I get it. Cam's probably a more talented passer, so you were able to go a little bit more explosive on the outside with some things, but it's not like Carson's I get Carson to have the zip or the rocket arm that Cam had. Cam had a cannon on his shoulder, but still he has the ball placement, the accuracy, and kind of the touch to hit those shots downfield, and he's shown it in flashes during the season. And then to just even that game, and then just to limit yourself just because of a drop, really, it's not even like Beck was throwing it into triple coverage or had a boneheaded throw downfield. It was because of JoJo dropping the ball, which happens.
It was raining.
It happens to everybody. It's unfortunate that the ball ended up having to pop into a defender's hands, but it's not something that Carson could have controlled, that Dawson could have controlled, taking those shots downfield. And you really wind the clock back to just a couple of years ago, and you see the creativity in this offense that used to kind of be there, motion, the trick plays and everything.
This isn't
And
there anymore.
it's not. It just doesn't feel like it's there anymore. Like the only times we've really seen those trick plays, really just FSU. You think about the not at well FSU with the with the flea flicker, and then that the 2-point conversion where Malley threw it to CJ Daniels. Like it doesn't. You're like he has shown the ability to craft a very hard to stop offense that uses a lot of creativity, but he just seemed the team just seems so consistently like they're just gonna line up in their formations, get to their 12 personnel and get to the 12 personnel, 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, and just drop back regular passes.
Yeah.
Like even though what I will give him credit for, we did see a little bit more outside zone, outside runs than we had previously.
So like Dawson to me is becoming a problem for me. And I would say for Mario, obviously I wouldn't want to fire him. One, because he's done a lot with he's again one of the best recruiters I've ever seen. Look at what we have next year with Jackson Cantwell and Jalen Waters, and the fact that during the season he has flipped Milan Paris and Keyshawn Stencil, like two huge moves. Like he's been great in the recruiting. If you fire him, you lose. Your recruiting goes all the way downhill, and you're done with that. That awesome recruiting that you are building. My issue with Mario right now is he has to change. He has to adapt, and he has to. He's not a great game manager at the moment. He's bad at adapting and making the things that the adjustments, the things he needs to do. Because we're seeing it now year in, year out. He's 4-9 in November. 4-9 in November. Things are not changing in that regard. So I would say for Mario, it's like you're a great recruiter. We would lose a lot of stuff if we lost you. We need you. You've built the program to a point where 10 wins should be the expectation, but now expectations have changed, and we're asking you to do more for us. We're asking you now, can you give us 11, 12 wins or 11, at least 11 wins and get us to the playoffs? Can you not choke in November? Can you win the games you're supposed to win? It's like you have to make these proper changes, and it's starting to drive me up a wall a little bit. But like in terms of this game, it felt like it was all based on the team just getting out of their own way. They could not get out of their own way.
No, 100%. And I agree at the end of that does fall on Mario entirely. But I agree with you at the same time where it's hard to find somebody who's going to be a better recruiter, even though you have the NIL. I just think the connections he has to this Miami program, kind of the way he's been able to promote this program as a place where you come in and develop just over these last few years has got us to the point where we're at. And I don't know where you're going to find the step up is my problem. Like everybody's saying, the Lane Kiffin. It'd be awesome if you can get Lane Kiffin because then you'd also get an awesome OC with that. But I just don't know how feasible that is to not only go and buy out Mario's contract, but to then go and spend on Lane Kiffin and probably a whole new coaching staff. Probably maybe it's not Heatherman would probably stay because he's done a really good job this year. But overall, to go and spend on a brand new coaching staff to come with Kiffin, I don't think that'd be very likely at all.
Yeah, it to me, it's like with Mario, I agree with what you're saying. That Mario does less with more. I don't disagree with that. But how does he get the talent? Is because he's such an amazing recruiter. The problem is he now needs to bring on elite OCs and DCs every single year for the team to be quality. And even then the team may still crumble and collapse. And my question is, what is your idea of a replacement? Because if Miami were to fire Chris Paul right now, they would be maybe third or fourth on that totem pole of head coaching hires.
Maybe.
Right?
I think you would
third.
Third. I mean, Florida,
LSU, Penn State, like they're
LSU, Penn State, but I think Miami has more history than Penn State and the money. So I think maybe LSU just because
Florida, Auburn, like these are all big SEC schools that are looking for guys. But
I also think the appeal of going to the ACC is that look at what's happened to Clemson over the last few years where they're not as consistent. Like it feels like a much more winnable conference. That's also fair. Maybe Miami's also just
305 Falconer again. Yeah, that's the other point. I don't think you just bring on a random guy on the street and say,
Oh,
hey,
100%.
Miami.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So I would love, for the people that want to fire Mario, I would love to hear someone that you think would be a proper replacement, and someone that would not be someone that LSU or Penn State or Florida are already targeting, or even FSU are already targeting. Because right now, I mean, this is the most amount of coaches we're seeing in this carousel. So firing Mario, there's not a whole lot of coaches.
You have to have some sort of insider info that there's a guy who really wants to go to Miami who's a clear upgrade.
Yes, and clear upgrade in both, in like that he's a better
that he can still recruit at a high level and also coach at a higher level too.
Yeah, I need to see that, because look, I do agree that Mario has to figure out how to adapt and be better in game management and game situations, so that we're not 4-9 in November. That is a problem. It is a huge concern that they continue to do the same old Canes mentality for the last 25 plus years. But like, Urban Meyer is not a legitimate candidate. He's fine where he is. He'd rather go to Florida than go to Miami.
I don't know about Urban. I know it's different, college to NFL, but
Urban Meyer is not going anywhere.
Like, last time we saw him.
Yeah. And if he were to go anywhere, it would be Florida. And the thing is, I don't know what Urban Meyer looks like in the NIL era.
Yeah, exactly.
He looked like in the previous eras, where they obviously were paying guys under the table and all that. But like, I get it.
We got you.
The whole idea is that Miami we're the expectations different over the last few years. We're finally in a spot of national prominence and media relevance, where every single year we can count on this team to, have the talent, have the abilities. I mean, look at what we have talent wise between Tony, and Tony's unbelievable, but everyone on defense and on offense and the transfer portal, that they're so good at getting the talent, but it is about execution and putting it on the field of doing that. So I don't know. I have no idea what we could really be asking for other than a new offensive coordinator. That's the only thing you said new offensive coordinator. I would 100% agree with you. And we could see what we'd look like. And again, also, who's the quarterback of the team next year? All these questions are up in the air. Just, we don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We don't really know. We did know that Urban coached the Florida back, and then I just more joking about him coming back and everything. But yeah, like, it's just so hard to picture who would do a better job than he's doing. Well, there's guys I could picture doing a better job, but guys who are available who I think would be doing a better job.
Yeah.
Like, there are, if you could picture Rhett Lashley coming back here, if you toss him a bag, but like, that just signed the extension, that's not happening. Kurt Signetti, look at what he's done flipping Indiana. That's not happening. He has an extension. Like, all these guys that have done a surprising good job at flipping programs that you'd be like, oh, they're on the next line to kind of make that step up. They're all locked up for long-term extensions. So it's not really like,
I can't see the Lane one. Lane has Lane's either going to get a tremendous bag from Ole Miss, or he goes to LSU, or he goes to UF, or he goes anywhere else. Because right now everyone thinks they're going to get Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think Miami's going to be like, Miami fires Mario, say, hey, we're going to get Lane Kiffin. I don't think we can just do that. So
no, I mean, 100%. I get Deepwater. I 100%.
Oh, I love Lane Kiffin.
If we could get Lane Kiffin,
yeah,
I would 100% sign up for that. Just because you're bringing up, transfer quarterbacks. We've already been recruiting them at a pretty high level. Guess what? We have Lane Kiffin here. Come and get coached by him. Like, I 100% would sign up to bring him in if that was an option.
But it's not an option. Yeah.
Charles. Like, unless a guy like Kurt Signetti, like somebody like that who's shown that they can win in big time conferences and flip teams with lesser talent, like those programs have been, like Rhett Lashley's done, like Signetti has done, like, just you pick other guys out probably that I'm blanking on right now. But unless you can do that, then there's no reason to get rid of Mario.
Yeah. The only idea I can only think of at the moment, if to live with it, is John Gruden would go into coaching before he'd be an OC. I would say Mario would then have to recruit to the point where he has so much talent that his coaching blunders, or his lack of coaching, kind of is outweighed by how talented the team is.
Mhm.
That's the only thing I can really think of.
Look, and I'm not throwing it all out that he could potentially take it. Like, we talk about guys improving all the time on the field. Maybe he does take a jump and figures it out eventually. But at 100%,
Yeah.
it's just frustrating hearing the same vernacular and
But also
words used
doing
every
the
single
same thing
week.
every single week. It's him doing it. It's him saying it, and it's kind of getting tired. The frustration is there.
Mhm.
To say he should be fired, I think, is crazy after all he's done with us in the first three, at this point in time. But I don't.
Yep. Nick Saban is OC. We got it.
I just
That's
don't
the plan.
know where Miami can go from there if they were to fire. Like, I just don't see that. And I think the only possibility that Miami has right now is you fire the OC, you hire a new OC, you then get a better quarterback, because Carson Beck hasn't shown to me that he's a
very, very fine quarterback.
Fine is probably the most I'll go with him. He probably wouldn't lead this current Miami team to anything with the way that they're currently playing, and some of the boneheaded mistakes he has, and all, everything. Whoever the quarterback is next year, you would hope is a little bit closer to Cam Ward than is to Carson Beck. That's which is like no kidding. Like, of course you want someone.
Yeah, no, but I just think you need that extra element as like a play extender outside of structure a little bit.
At least a dual threat. Absolutely a dual threat on that. So yeah, Nick Saban.
Well, maybe we could pull it together and take him off College game day, and then get him here. Look, that'd be interesting to see. But you know what, Falconer, you got a point on Tom Brady. He's already could he coach a college team if he owns an NFL team?
Ooh, that's a good question. I didn't think about that at all. But like we can maybe shift on to at least maybe the positives from this week. I would say the receiver room and the running back room were both really solid. It sucks that Fletcher got hurt.
Fletcher being hurt
really hurts. He was explosive. 5.3 yards per carry. It felt like they were running the ball pretty well overall. Again, they just were not really able to finish any drive. Anytime they got into the red zone, things just started to sputter for them. Tony was incredible. We mentioned it. Was it another 111 total all-purpose yards? Best player. Like, he's carrying the team on his back. Thielen was great. JoJo, and finally being unlocked with Daniels being hurt, and Daniels also probably won't be playing for a little bit.
I think I saw a tweet. It's going to be a couple of games for him, and both him and OJ.
So him getting more opportunities is going to help. Joshua Moore as well is going to come out there and start getting some more reps. From the offensive standpoint, they were the better team for at least the first half. They outscored them out-yarded them 222 to 130, and the score was 10-7. That's a problem. They were 7-16 on third down. They were making right throws. I felt like the offense was there, but it was never able to it was like almost there. It was just
just out on and a lot of that was because of the penalties. Like in the offense getting a little bit of uncreativity on there where you're not able to punch in that 4th and 1 to keep the drive alive right there. There's a 3rd and short that forces you to settle for a field goal. Like, there's just a few plays that just barely Miami was kind of knocking at the door a few times to kind of extend the lead there, and they just never could. Yeah,
it's just they were there, and then they just weren't. And on the flip side of things, it felt like they were pretty much limiting SMU for the most. Like, for the most part, it felt like SMU was doing they were kind of copying the Louisville vibe of, we're going to play hurry up, we're going to play a lot of turbo offense, of no huddle. Because we have Kevin Jennings, we have a younger group of guys that are all trying to prove it, stick it to Miami, and we're gonna try and do what we can do. They were not able to run the football in the second half. They just said, we're gonna pass on every throw. So they went no huddle, pass, and it worked for the most part because Jordan Hudson was dominant. Not the other Jordan Hudson. This Jordan Hudson was 11 catches, 136 yards. He was incredible. He was unguardable. They really weren't able to stop him. And it felt like, but it also didn't seem like the defensive backroom was all that bad. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. Before we fully flip over to the defensive side, I do want to agree with Falcon over here. Yeah, you don't want to see that from your starting quarterback when.
Oh yeah, I did not like that.
And I get his frustration when it seemed like the clock was always managing to run down on Miami on those play clocks, but you can't. It's just a bad look.
But even his
And
comment after the game as well.
like his comment was rough, but I saw the whole press conference and it didn't seem as bad because he does say that one rough comment, but overall it looked because I think at the end of that same quote of sentences, it was if I see something and I'm allowed to change it, I'll change it. So it was more just like those were the plays that were called, but I have a little bit of the authority to change it if I see something really bad. And so, and plus, he kind of echoed the same sentiments as everybody else, being like, "We got to stick together. It's a tough time. We got to push through." So, like, it was a rough snippet of a comment, but I think it's similar to like when he quote unquote threw Lofton under the bus. When you listen to the whole press conference, it wasn't him tossing blame around people. I think it's just a brief moment of frustration when I agree with Deepwater again over here. You're having similar things call a million times against a really bad pass defense,
Really
and
bad.
as a quarterback, you want to air that. You want to air that out.
Yeah, it was bad. It felt like there were so many chances that they could have, because you were right, they were in cover 0 and they were in cover 1, and they had so many opportunities to go, all right, I'm gonna go one-on-one with Malachi Tony. I'm gonna go one-on-one with one of our guys here. And it felt like they just went away from that after after Beck's first pick. And that was a big problem for me. And I think if they started to air the ball out more and they stopped with this kind of logic of, oh, we have to control the trenches at all times, and we have to do these quick screens, and we have to do these tunnel screens and these runs and the RPO system, that this will change everything. And they just didn't really adjust. They didn't adapt.
And there was a one quote from Dawson a few weeks back where it was we need more plays. Like, I want to get more plays in, but I don't like if you are creating explosive plays consistently, then you don't need to run more plays. If you're creating explosive plays where drives are short, drives are fast, and you're putting your foot on the gas consistently, there'll probably be a few more mistakes mixed up in there. But if you are hunting those explosive plays to an extent, it can backfire a couple times. But I get that. But you mix those in with those methodical plays, those tiny chunk plays, and then you create an offense that is versatile. Like, it's not only relying on we're going to hit guys over the middle for quick passes, we're going to hit some screens and hope we get yards after catch. Like, you don't need to have long extended drives consistently to burn clock. Like, because if one thing goes wrong, like we saw where there's a holding, a false start, and now you're pushed back 5 yards on a second or third down, and then you're throwing on 3rd and 10, which isn't a high, not great odds of converting on that. Or if you're like, it's 4th and 1 and you're gonna pack it in because you just need to get 1 yard. No, let's go and hunt. Let's go and hunt maybe not don't throw the ball 50 yards down the field, but let's go and hunt something to get to the outside and play on what they expect out of us to do, and let's switch it up on them. So, and I think that's just the problem with this offense right now, where they're not using what teams think about them to kind of play off of that.
Yeah, a couple of things. Like from FSU, they went with that kind of idea where they had a couple of deep shots and they worked. They took the top off a couple of times, and they, even if they missed on one, I'm going to keep throwing it. And then Louisville, they tried throwing the deep balls, and Beck gets picked off 4 times. They're like, all right, we're going to stay away from that. It's almost like an overcorrection, and also an overcorrection from last year where they were super explosive, where they were continuously getting 1-play touchdowns, but they were so afraid of the Lance Guidry defense. They were like, damn, now we're on the now the defense has to play on the field and they suck. So, but the defense is so much better now that what if you had an offense that I know you don't have Cam Ward, you don't have Jacoby George, Restrepo, and Elijah Arroyo, but you have an elite offensive line. You have Malachi Tony. You have different guys on the team. I know you have Beck, but you can go and make some deep shots. I know you can, they can. It doesn't make sense. It feels like an overcorrection of what they did against Louisville and FSU, and they're like, we're going to dial all that back, and we're going to go back to the tunnel screen A-gap offense. And it was vanilla. It was boring. They they got more yards in them, but it didn't lead to anything.
And even in that 4th quarter, you saw the difference in time possession. It was 10 minutes to 5. You have the ball 2/3 of the damn quarter, and you're not able to move the football. Maybe Luke. I don't know about Emory just because I don't know what the ceiling is on that.
I was thinking about this question because if once we get officially out of playoff contention, I believe we have to start looking at our options in the future.
100%. I think that's fair, and I think it's hard to bench Carson necessarily unless he has another really awful game and then to knock you out of contention. But if
Here
you're
I
out of
start
it,
looking at the future. I like they looked a little too late last year where they saw, they went to the Pinstripe Bowl and said, we'll have Cam play the first half and have Emery play the second half because they think Emery might still be the guy. They see Emery play one of the worst halves of football and they're like, damn, we need a quarterback. Now, if you lose a game, one more game, and you're officially out of any contention for any postseason other than the Gasparilla Bowl or the Pinstripe Bowl, you got to start looking at some other guys.
Oh, 100%. But I think that's more of like last game or two of the season or in the bowl game than any.
Like if they lost to Syracuse this week, do you bench Beck for NC State?
It depends on how he plays.
Okay.
At the same time, I don't think we want to see. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I don't mind seeing Emery because I get at the end of the day, you kind of want to have all these guys show their talents so you can get a full look at what this quarterback room looks like behind Beck if you're eliminated. But
I still don't think the starting quarterback's on the team next year, to be honest.
That's fair.
I think they go back to the portal again.
I think we probably do, but from everything I've heard about Luke, I could see them going that route.
Yeah, I get it. I can definitely see it, but I believe they might go for the portal and have, I don't know what. I really don't know because I can't imagine.
I agree. You want something more consistent, Deepwater, but Darion Coleman's another interesting thing. He just might be a little too small from what I've read about him. You think it's like 6 foot, a little wiry, so might need a year before put on some muscle, get a little bigger.
I think he needs a year. And my favorite thought is always when Malachi Tony out passed him in a high school football game, championship game. Very funny thought.
That is funny.
But Lagway's not going. I don't think Lagway goes into the portal. I also don't know if I want Lagway. I'll be honest with you.
Lenore Sellers.
He ain't going to the portal. CJ Bailey is a guy that I always hear. I love CJ Bailey.
I would like to see that if that was an option. I just don't know. Once again, I don't know what
we don't know what our options are. Yeah,
I don't know what our options are right now. So CJ Bailey would 100% be, Yeah,
I'm sorry. He
did. I mean, he did. It is baby Jesus.
Wide receiver 1 turned quarterback 1 out past Darion Coleman. I'm just saying.
But
we don't
know our options. But 100%. If we get down to those last game or two, I know it's weird because we're on the road, but that in the bowl game, you're eliminated. Beck's playing bad. Go and look what you have, because at that point, I know a little bit is that if you do want to go get another transfer quarterback, I don't think you want to show that if Beck's playing fine. By the way, I appreciate it. If Beck's playing fine, that we're gonna bench your starting quarterback just so we can get a look at younger guys. I don't know what message I would send in case you do go the route of another transfer. But if he's just playing poorly and then you go bench him, I don't know if that's really gonna say anything to anybody else. But yeah, plus NIL money.
I think with Mario is we haven't seen him develop a quarterback yet, and I don't know if I want to see him develop a quarterback. So I'm kind of in this.
Especially since we don't know who the OC is going to be 100%. There is definitely a world where Shannon's going.
Sounds of it right now, it's we like Dawson still because Shannon Dawson's not the terrorist that Lance Guidry was last year.
Oh,
Lance
Guidry I
was a terrorist, a legitimate.
That was
Shannon Dawson is not at the same level of that yet. Not yet. If we lose a game because of the offense going into conservative mode again, I'm going to hop on that train. But we are not at I don't think I'm at that point yet. I'm in the point of saying, the hot seat is starting to warm up.
Hot seat is definitely starting to warm up for him.
But Lance Guidry was, to me, I thought he was done, I don't know, after Cal maybe. It was something like that where I was like, dude, this defense they can't defend anything. So I don't know. I keep thinking about it, and obviously this team could make the playoffs. Whatever. I'm not even in the. I'm looking at this team, and I keep looking at them, saying I don't even think I can see them winning out the rest of the season. That to me is my biggest thing. That's my biggest takeaway. That if they were playing to a level where okay, they lost they've lost by combined 9 points, but in the ways that they've lost and how much of an underperformance they are against less talented teams, it feels like they're going to lose another game in another similar fashion. And to me, that's kind of a problem.
100%. It's really much problem. And Dewar, again, like I agree that he has some definite issues and he's definitely on the hot seat. But I wouldn't 100% kick him out the door.
Yeah,
Just being 100%
not
sure.
yet. Like not right. Like right now,
Not
that
yet. There is
yeah,
definitely a world where if the season you don't make the
the
playoffs,
situation's fluid, very
yeah,
fluid
the situation
situation.
is very fluid, and there is definitely a world where he's not the OC next year. That
Yeah,
so yeah,
definitely not in defense of him right now. I'll tell you
yeah,
that.
100%. Not I ain't defending nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah. Anything else? Do we really
Syracuse,
want Syracuse? I
Syracuse.
guess.
We can talk
Um.
about Syracuse a little. Syracuse just fired their wide receiver coach. They just fired a bunch of guys. Their season's a season of disaster.
Yeah.
Ever since what's the Steve Angeli got hurt, just a disaster of a season. You losing to UNC was probably the final nail in the coffin of a really, really
Yeah.
good
That
season.
was you lose to UNC. It's
Yeah. And I wonder, what Calvin Austin's thinking in his head right now. Calvin Russell's thinking in his head right now.
yeah. I don't. I'm surprised he hasn't flipped yet. That
Me
that
too.
place looks like a mess. The Scooby, you might be right, Gunner over Beck, but it's
I
I know
don't
it's
I don't know if we were ever in the Carson Beck is proving all of his SEC haters wrong category.
mhm.
We've been in the Carson Beck needs to be a really good game manager, and he did not
Yeah,
do that.
I was never on that damn Heisman train like that
No,
people were trying to push.
no, no, no.
I was
We
like
were
Carson's playing fine, and shout out to him for proving people wrong about proving some things wrong about him, but not like this guy should be the Heisman. That
yeah,
was going a little too far, in my
yeah.
opinion.
No,
Sure.
genuinely, we were not on
Don't
the.
worry, we were not on no Carson Beck Heisman train list.
We said don't be
I
camp.
was a Ruben. I think both of us are Ruben Bain stands over here,
Oh,
which
we were
that's
on
also
Bain for
fallen off.
Heisman. We were all in on Bain for Heisman, and
Yeah,
Bain was good on Saturday. Because he's getting triple double and triple team. He's
yeah.
never able to get any of the counting numbers, but he is still a
Like
massive.
if you looked at his pressures, those things are going to be off the charts by the end of the year
Oh,
still. Which I know
he
people
is
are like sacks, but
big
Bain
time
is a
PFF
PFF
hero.
hero.
He
Which
is.
I don't know. I've heard some things about PFF that might not be the best thing. The way they do their game grades, which is very fair. I think TJ Watt was not TJ Watt. JJ Watt was talking about the other week where they're like, I've had guys talk about Uber drivers who were PFF graders, which so don't always just grade people off with the PFF numbers say. And fair, he isn't the
It's
only
a good
DM
point.
being
It's a
getting
good point,
schemed up.
Deepwater. It's a
But
good.
I think look, I think if you just watch the guy play, you see how he moves and pushes guys around, and I get it. The sack numbers haven't been there, which sacks, yeah, it's a number that you want to get on, but it's a number that you definitely want if you're Bane to build those numbers up. But if you just watch how the guy's playing, like he's legit.
Yeah,
He's
I like
he's
the counting numbers are not going to show, but if you do watch Ruben Bain every single week, he is going to be on a consistent basis of being a dominant pass rusher. He may not be the only guy getting schemed up, but he's getting schemed up on a consistent basis, being double teamed on a consistent basis, and I
and he's
mean,
setting guys up. Like he is
yeah,
setting guys up for
there were a couple plays where you're watching him. He's right there. He's causing trouble. I
Mhm.
believe on the Keontae Scott sack.
Yeah.
Keontae Scott's been probably the best defender.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if you
He's
want to
if, if you
say
want to say, I'm willing to say that Keontae Scott's playing better than Ruben Bain currently.
mhm,
He's been out of this world good. But Ruben Bain is getting in a point where every time they're trying to scheme things up, it helps a lot of other guys get in on certain plays. Xavier Lucas had almost a fumble, almost a strip sack fumble. So
which
close. So close. He did throw it. It was right there. But Xavier Lucas was right there, going to get the strip sack. And it was a lot of that because he was unblocked, but Bain was also waiting right there. And I believe it ended up hitting him too. Or Mesidor was there too. It was like the pass rush is still dominant. They're still elite. Teams are scheming them up to a point where now Kevin Jennings is throwing the ball super fast so that it neutralizes that system. And we're now seeing the guys not getting the results that we had been seeing at the beginning of the year.
yeah, it's just a little bit different. And yeah, like maybe Bane hasn't hit those heights that we've been talked about, but I still think when you watch him on the field, you do see that he's going to be an NFL level. He's going to be a high quality
Yes.
NFL defensive end where maybe they should do some more things to move him around more consistently, make it so it's not as predictable, get him on some stunts, but like, just stuff to maybe just move him around to where it's not predictable where he's going to end up, so he can't be double teamed as often. And 100%, I get he's not the only DN being schemed up, and you 100%, I agree. He hasn't fully lived up to the hype necessarily, but I wouldn't.
Get the most attention. He's getting the most attention for sure. And yes, look, the sacks are one thing, but you have to. I don't want to look at the PFF, all that, but if you do look at the things that he's able to do that aren't in the counting numbers, you then see that he has been great. It sucks to say it, but you have to really watch the film. But you have to watch him on every single down and say he's really making an impact on these plays. I agree, and I've been saying this. I would like his production to be higher. Because it sucks when you're saying Ruben Bain's an awesome player and you're saying, well, give me more reason to say that. And you're like, oh, like 2 sacks on the year, or he's got like barely any tackles. So I even saw him in pass coverage, but he has been very good. I'm not going to say he's been bad. He's been the second or best defensive end best defensive player on the team currently right now.
Yeah, maybe if you want to get because Mesidor probably has more sacks than him if you want to look at this Miami team, but like I mean, let me take a look at the sack numbers on the team. Like it's very much spread out. 3.5 for Mesidor, 2 for Keontae, 2 for Jacoby Thomas, 2 for Bain, 2 for Marlon Blunt, 1.5 for Life, one about 1 for a bunch of other people's. Falconer, you might have found the right guy. I think we need to buy out Bill Belichick. He can build a program.
No, don't want any Jordan. No Jordan.
Oh my God, we can have Jordan Hudson playing Jordan Hudson. Oh my God, what a matchup. Yeah, but Bain's been great. Syracuse,
his
I don't really know.
Win rate and his pass rush rate is still as
pass rush win rate is another thing that's weird because I don't know how it's calculated, but I know with at least in the NFL the way that's calculated sometimes where it's just a chip in the pad and it's like how close do you get to the quarterbacks. So it doesn't necessarily. I like pressures are a fine stat to say when a guy gets up there, hurries, QB hits, stuff like that where you're showing your impact on a guy, even though you're not bringing them down. But pass rush win rate's probably still high, and I wouldn't completely dismiss it as a stat, but I just know it has some like, qualifiers to it. And Charles, fair enough, analytics do kind of suck, but like it gives you a little bit more context when there's things that currently aren't qualified, but also pressures really isn't an analytics stat. It really just is.
I'm objectively a bit of a nerd, and I'm a big analytics guy. PFF, I'm not going to call it analytics stat, but like if people were to start mentioning, I don't know, someone's efficiency or something like that, I'm cool with rating, like that kind of stuff. I've always been a fan of the analytics. I think it does give you a little bit more of an insight on the game, but you do also need to watch the game. You can't just say the game is based on a spreadsheet because it's not. Because if it was, the SEC would win every game because the SEC is undefeated in hypotheticals.
Oh, so, yeah, 100%.
You have to play the actual game, and Miami plays the actual game and they lose because that's who they are against bad teams. And with Syracuse, I mean, they should win. That's what we've been saying every week.
We've been saying, prove to Calvin Russell that he should come to the U.
Yeah, get him in attendance for this.
I think he is. I can double check, but
just win. Like, I want to call this. I know it sucks because we're all down after Saturday, but I would like this to be a little bit of a revenge game for what happened last year.
And it should not be like the Stanford game. The Stanford game echoed more of the same issues.
Just pop them in the mouth. Pop Syracuse in the mouth right away. Make this game 24-0 at halftime. Not 21-0 like last year, and then they scored 3 touchdowns. No. 24-0. Own the game. Dominate it. Like, please. I'm done with these cardiac canes. I'm done with these games, like, for all of it. And Charles, this team is talented enough to be penciled in, but they are not good enough as a team to be penciled in. They could lose to Syracuse this week. They could lose to NC State. NC State's actually a very quality team. They could lose to any of these teams for the rest of the season. This is what we were talking about. When we entered the bye, we're like, all right, we got 7 straight games. Guys are going to get banged up. Guys are going to get hurt. It's like we have to play our best brand of our football, and we lost two. Of the 7 straight games, they've already lost one of them. So you got 4 left. Got to go undefeated if you even want a shot at being in the at-large bid. And I've been saying this as well, and pretty much every person that I talk to about Syracuse says this. I want to beat Fran Brown very badly. I can't. And he had to take a lot of stuff this week because of how bad he was against UNC. And you got to keep, if UNC can beat them, if UNC can beat them in a dominant fashion, the same should be said. They had a true freshman playing quarterback, I think, last week.
Yeah.
So it's you got to own them. You got to dominate them in all ways.
Yeah. Sorry, it was just a random thing I was looking up because it just popped to my mind. Just when you brought up NC State, that I just thought about because their win against Virginia doesn't count as a conference loss, which I found out the other day, which was really weird.
You just oh my gosh! I saw it.
I was scrolling on Twitter and I was like, why are people keep bringing that up?
I saw it right away. They're going to call this a non-conference game, and it's unfortunately somehow going to matter when it's all said and done. Because that game was also one of the stupidest games ever between Virginia and NC State. It was like 44-42 and went to I felt like it was going to go to overtime, and then someone blew it. It was a whole mess of the game. And that's how Virginia's played every game all season long.
They're gonna make the goddamn conference.
Yes, that's who it was about Syracuse quarterback on a lacrosse scholarship. The guy is not a quarterback. The guy needs to get mauled on Saturday.
Look, remain pad the stats, buddy.
This needs to be a padding stats game.
Yeah,
please make this game a dominant win. I mean, we said that about Stanford when Stanford had 30 guys hurt and they were 7-7 at halftime.
So but so 100%, it has to be not like that Stanford game. Kind of has to be like the USF game, which is probably looking like their most impressive wire-to-wire game that they played all season. Maybe Notre Dame is their most impressive game.
Notre Dame is keeping them alive.
Notre Dame is the only thing keeping them alive.
Oh my god!
In terms of dominating wins, it's the only one that I'm impressed with because they put their foot on the gas for 4 quarters. Right out the gate, you have Beck throwing bombs to Josh Moore. 100%, this team needs to get it going and keep their foot on the gas.
Oddly enough, when UNC was having a strong up, I know it makes it. I'm so confused by it because Virginia shouldn't have also beat UNC. UNC should. No,
they shouldn't have because literally, you think about 3 different. I mean, ball was half an inch away from going over for the 2-point conversion. The guy bobbles it out of his hands for the deep shot, which I don't know why they're taking deep shots at that point. Just go for the damn field goal. But keep setting yourself up in field goal range. But it goes in and out of his hands, picked off, goes to overtime. Virginia wins. Virginia should not be in the conference championship in all likelihood, but they are. And
I'm waiting on they got Duke at some point this year.
Yeah,
that's the first game I think of that they're gonna lose. I'm very high on Duke. I don't think Duke's gonna be at large team because of the losses that they've had. They also should have lost to Clemson without a doubt last week, but they're good enough where I would call them one of the more quality teams. I think they're way better than Virginia. I think Duke's a very good team. Mm-hmm. But I need to see them lose. I really do. I'm kind of sick of Virginia's stuff right now. 11 in the nation's just little. It's a little.
It's right where they are just because.
It's just what was Virginia got left for the rest of the season?
We can take a look really fast.
I gotta see this because they beat Cal by 10 in a game. I cannot believe they actually beat Cal. I thought Cal was gonna win that too. They got Wake, who really was a disaster. I didn't think they were gonna get blown out by 40 at FSU. Duke, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's a rivalry, but it's in Virginia. Duke, I can see. Duke
is the one that they should lose.
Gotta be a loss. But even if they lose,
but they have to lose 2 of those.
Yeah.
Honestly, all 3 if they want to give us any bit of.
But 4 in terms of.
Sorry, I don't know. What are the tiebreakers when it comes to?
I don't know because of Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Pitt all end up 5-1. I know Georgia Tech has a tiebreaker over Virginia.
Is it point differential? Because I feel like point differential.
No, it's about common opponents. I believe.
Okay, yeah, it's head-to-head competition.
If Duke beats Virginia, Georgia Tech then leaps Virginia because Georgia Tech beat Duke and Virginia would lose to Duke.
Yeah.
But you also have Louisville, who has, and then I think the second one is record against
common opponents.
Yeah. And Louisville lost to Virginia. So,
well, yeah, and then it's common opponents based on their order of the standings.
and then who was Pitt's? Pitt's conference loss was to Louisville.
Yeah, to Louisville.
Great. Okay. It's a mess. So
It's a whole mess.
I think as it would stand, if everyone were to finish undefeated rest of the season, I believe it would be Virginia, Georgia Tech. But if you were to see Virginia lose a game, it would be Georgia Tech and then someone else. I don't know. I don't know what the other one would be.
Yeah.
Good questions in a bad conference. Well, not a bad conference. I think it's good that the ACC has a lot of.
Yeah, but it's just not helpful for getting more teams.
Yeah. I mean, look, my problem is that they're going to look at the SEC and be like, oh, but the SEC's they're so good that anyone can beat anyone.
Exactly.
You look at it differently. ACC and it's like, haha, Miami lost to SMU, and it's like, well, we're just kind of that's a double standard that's going away. Like it's a total double standard. Like if I'm thinking of someone's got an easy opponent next week. I think Mississippi State's got a pretty big game. If Mississippi State were to win, they're going to start giving credit to Mississippi State and being like, wow, the SEC is so talented from top to bottom, and not the ACC being like, when they do the same thing.
Yeah, it's all weird. And they're never going to give us the credit.
No, never.
But yeah, ACC is a good conference. Yeah, I agree. SEC has the ESPN bias push. Yeah, it's just what it is right now. And that's where it's trending towards with the big super conference ideas and everything like that.
Yeah.
But quick predictions. What do you have for?
I don't know why I'm going back to this. Well, this is more hope. I'm willing this to happen. 42-0. I want to beat the doors off Syracuse. I really want to beat the hell out of them. Like it just a straight up, I hate you to Fran Brown and them after everything that happened last year.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm down for that one. I'll just to make it different. I'll go 45-3.
They are about 28-point favorites, I believe, again this week. So
yeah, it should be something like that.
It should be something like that. I mean, they covered the 28-point spread against Stanford last time, so it could happen again. Yeah. I don't know. Syracuse's offense is that bad. They're really, really bad. And I don't know if firing their wide receiver coach is going to make things better. This is what I was talking about, by the way. That Bama lost to this current iteration of FSU, and FSU is a total disaster.
Yep, but I think they're going to get a pass because it was week one, kind of like Notre Dame. If they get in over us, we'll get a pass because it was week one. So
it sucks.
It's going to suck, but yeah, like even if Bama loses another one and they're also 10-2, and we're like, well, we beat this FSU team that you guys lost to, they're going to be like, well, that FSU team at that point was going downhill, and this Bama team has since gone upwards, even if they lose another one. So yeah, it is what it is. Can't help but complain about it.
Yeah. It really sucks that we even have to have this conversation instead of winning. The fact that they won every one of their tough games and the rest of the season is cake, and now we're fighting for our lives in the at-large bid again. Yep. And I'm like, the season's not over, but it's all but over. It's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it feels like it. But look, if you want something to start, it's got to start this week, and any hopes have to keep themselves alive by finishing out the season strong. And even if you don't, win a New Year's Six bowl, because this team hasn't won a bowl game since 2016, I think it is.
They're not getting no New York Six bowl. Win a bowl game.
Win a bowl game, but you know what I mean. Like, hey, if you're 10-2, you're the first team out of the game. Oh well, we were the first team out last year.
We would get the Pop-Tart Bowl again.
Yeah, we're gonna get the damn Pop-Tart Bowl.
But I think right now we're projected the Tax Slater Gator Bowl against Tennessee. Real football. Give me the Pinstripe Bowl.
Yes, I can go to it.
I can go to that game. Give me back to New York.
Yep. That's perfect. I love it.
But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah. Everybody.
Yeah, hopefully we'll catch you guys.
Jaden, you'll be on Thursday, I assume?
I will be on Thursday, yes.
You can catch Jaden Thursday. I'll be back next week. Have a good one.
Yes. See you guys.